The first sign was subtle, almost imperceptible, a casual brush-off when he asked about her day, a lingering gaze at her phone that she quickly hid behind a smile. "I just need some personal space," she said one Monday evening, her voice calm, almost rehearsed. Her words seemed harmless, but something in the way she avoided his eyes, the way she crossed the living room as though it were a minefield, sent a cold shiver down his spine. Over the following days, the shift became undeniable. She no longer kissed him good morning, no longer lingered for coffee together, no longer asked about his thoughts or plans. Their apartment, once warm with laughter and quiet conversations, now echoed with the sound of two people occupying the same space, strangers sharing walls. He didn't argue. He didn't question. He simply observed. Every nuance, every message that lit up her phone, every whispered conversation she thought he couldn't hear, he catalogued mentally, silently, methodically. It wasn't just the distance, it was the secrecy. Her phone, always clutched like a talisman, would vibrate at odd hours, and she would quickly bury it beneath her pillow or hide it in her purse. He noticed the names, men she claimed she barely knew, acquaintances she said were just colleagues. But the frequency, the intensity, the careful crafting of her excuses, something about it screamed otherwise. He watched her, not with anger, not with fear, but with a patient precision, as if the truth were a game of chess, and every move she made only revealed the strategy she thought he was blind to. One evening, while she was in the shower, he took her phone from the table, a simple, quick glance, and he knew. Every conversation, every secret meeting, every late-night exchange painted a portrait of betrayal so vivid it took his breath away. And yet he didn't react. He didn't yell. He didn't storm the house in rage. He waited, letting her sense of security remain intact, letting her believe that the experiment, her personal space, her manipulation, was working. He watched her spiral subtly into carelessness, each day more reckless, more confident that he was too absorbed in work to notice. The tension mounted in the quiet hours of the night. She would leave the apartment for a walk, claiming she needed air, but he tracked the small inconsistencies, the faint scent of another man's cologne on her coat, the slightly disheveled hair that suggested intimacy she had not shared with him. Every lie, every half-truth, was meticulously recorded in his mind and now, in reality, in a folder that he was slowly filling. Photos, screenshots, notes, timestamps, tangible proof of the world she had created behind his back. Yet he remained calm. His calmness was a weapon far sharper than any confrontation. He had become a shadow in his own home, silently tracing the outlines of her deception, each step deliberate, each observation a piece of the larger puzzle. Weeks passed. Her behavior grew bolder, careless, arrogant. She laughed a little too loudly on her phone, touched his shoulder with a fleeting familiarity meant to test him, her eyes flashing with a confidence that dared him to react. He didn't. The patience was unbearable for her, a pressure she could neither name nor resist. She began dropping subtle hints, almost like a dare, a lingering look, a whispered name, a smile too intimate for anyone who was not the man she was texting behind his back. And he, the silent observer, simply added another page to his growing dossier of truths. Finally, the day arrived, the day she decided to end the experiment herself, to return to what she called normal, to reclaim the life she believed she had temporarily abandoned in her quest for freedom. She came home that evening, a slight blush on her cheeks, a victorious smile that he had seen before, the one that said, "I can have this and more, and you can't touch me." She sank onto the couch, relaxed in the security of her perceived control, and turned to him with an expectant look, as though nothing had changed. He handed her the folder without a word, just placed it gently on the coffee table. Her fingers trembled as she picked it up, curious, confused. The first page revealed messages, screenshots of late-night rendezvous, hidden meetings, flirtatious texts she had thought he'd never see. The next pages revealed names, times, places, a complete map of every deception she had crafted with care and cruelty. Her eyes widened, her mouth opened, and the color drained from her face. The facade she had built over weeks, the arrogance, the smirk, the calculated games, all collapsed in an instant. I, she stammered, searching for words that would never come. He didn't speak. He didn't accuse. He simply turned, walked toward the door, each step measured, deliberate, final. The sound of the key sliding into the lock echoed like thunder in the silence she had created. She opened the folder further, her hands shaking uncontrollably, reading names she had thought were private, messages she thought she had erased, proof she thought was buried. And as she looked up, hoping for a confrontation, for an explanation, for a chance to reclaim her power, he was already gone. Gone from the apartment. Gone from her manipulations. Gone from the life she had assumed she controlled. In his absence, the weight of her actions settled like a crushing storm. She realized, too late, that her personal space, her casual betrayals, her arrogance, all had been witnessed, all had been documented, all had been delivered with precision. The man who once sat quietly beside her, who never questioned, who never raised his voice, had orchestrated the ultimate revelation, a silent reckoning that left her powerless, exposed, and utterly alone. Weeks later, she would tell herself that it was a harsh lesson, that perhaps she had misread his silence as weakness. But the truth lingered in the folder, in every photo, every message, every timestamp, evidence of the life she had tried to live in shadows, now illuminated in brutal clarity. And he, the quiet observer, had transformed into the master of his own destiny, leaving behind a truth so unshakable that she could never undo it, and a silence so absolute that it spoke louder than any confrontation ever could. The apartment remained quiet. The air still carried the faint scent of her cologne, now a haunting reminder of her choices. Every corner, every light, every shadow was a testament to patience, observation, and meticulous planning. And as he walked away, free from the web she had spun, he carried with him not just victory, but a profound, almost poetic justice, the kind that history remembers, the kind that stories whisper about for generations, the quiet man who watched, waited, and let truth become the most devastating weapon of all.